Hello and welcome to Apex Incident Tips, episode number 205, brought to you most Fridays at 12:05 Eastern Time. We're your hosts. I'm Anton. And Marwa is somehow muted.
Sorry. Hi, Anton.
Hi, Marwa. That's live web shows right there. So we have a really long topic that we're going to try to squeeze into about 5 minutes today. But if we go a little bit over, we're not going to sweat it. And if you want more on this topic, say so in the comments. So there we go. As some people know, I've done a lot of talking about security. I think one of my first topics at Oracle Open World was on HTML-DB security, how to hack an HTML, that word application. So we're going to jump into some new 26.1 features related to security that I think probably are confusing and don't get enough content. So I'm going to set the stage by just showing my application. Right here, we have a little bit of JavaScript that somebody has gotten into the description of this field. And we all know that we protect this. How?
By setting the attribute.
Yes. So let's take a quick look at the attribute that we're talking about right here. It is the security attribute way down here, escape special characters. And we always want to leave that turned on, but sometimes we turn it off, right? And we turn it off and we think, I know for sure that that nobody can get something into there, or that I'm going to do something someplace else, but it gets turned off. And that can lead to a problem like this, where that runs. And we've talked about, oh, there it is. Hello. It ran right there. We've talked a couple of times about ways to avoid this. And I think all of the things we've talked about should be done. You should avoid this in all the ways we do it, because security is like an onion. It has to have lots of layers. And the deeper you go, the more you cry, the harder it is for a hacker or somebody to, having more and more layers just makes it that much harder. And Apex 26.1 allows us to have a new layer of security that we really couldn't before. And Marwa, what's that layer of security?
So it's CSP, and like you said, it adds a security layer to a Apex application by telling the browser what content is trusted, what content should be blocked, and it controls also the resources that are allowed to load or execute.
Okay, so we've said the term, we're going to turn on the clock. CSP, I'm going to say it's Content Security Policy. From now on, we're going to say CSP. So a CSP is a header variable that gets emitted from your web server, your application, and it comes down to the browser, and the browser gets this policy, this CSP, and it then starts putting all kinds of constraints around what's allowed. Inline JavaScript, not allowed. Inline styles are not allowed. So any JavaScript that is there, like we saw here, needs to have a nonce if it's going to run. Well, you can define it to tell it that it has to have a nonce. What's a nonce, Marwa?
It's a number used once. It's unique.
That's right. So nonce, N-O-N, number used once. Turns out it's not usually a number. It's a word or a set of characters. But it's something that gets put into every script tag to allow it to be allowed to run. If you define the content security policy, the CSP, to behave that way. And the problem was you couldn't do that with Apex previously, because Apex has all kinds of script tags. If we look in here and we view the page source and we look for script tags, we're going to see tons of them, right? And we couldn't turn on that because Apex didn't put a nonce in, and without the nonce, it wouldn't work. But with Apex 26.1, look at this. We've got nonces all over the place. Every one of these things gets a nonce.
Okay, so even if you do not set up the setting about security, in your application definition, you will always get this. This is
That's right.
the thing with Apex 26.1. Okay.
That's right.
And
Whether or not you have a CSP, you're going to get the nonce. So the nonce is there. So that means that you can then create a CSP and use the nonce. So I'll just point out first, it's listed as a new feature, content security policy support, and it tells you a little bit about it, and then it tells you how do you go about configuring it and so forth. And then in here, it tells you how to do it. You basically take this security policy, and you can see it references this tag, Apex CSP nonce. That is the nonce. And so you're allowed to define if you're going to have a script, it's got to have this nonce. And so I've gone ahead and done that. We'll go ahead to my shared components under security attributes, and we're going to put in that nonce, that right there. And so I'm going to copy a security policy from here, and I'm going to stick it up in there as this. And so this is my security policy. You can see it's got my nonce right here, and there it is. And if I apply that change, now when I refresh this, it just ignored that script. That script that didn't have it got ignored. And if I look in here, first, this was the nonce. Every time I refresh that page, I get a different nonce. So if I look at this, every one of these, if I review the source every single time, I get a different nonce. And that takes care of this problem because that script isn't there. And the person can't guess at it. They can't come in here and put in a nonce, right? Because that nonce changes every single time. So if I put in the previous nonce, whatever it was, it's not going to work because they would need to know the nonce that's coming. Impossible. So these are the good things about it. And if you've just done Apex, you can just do what I've done and it's all going to work. But as soon as you've done something different, if you've done your own kinds of code, then we're going to have some problems. So for example, if I put a style on here, display none on this region, I can't use an inline style. If I have a do submit, it's not going to, well, I must have done something here. But anything I do in JavaScript, or if I have a link, let me give an example here. If I come back here, this link doesn't work because this link was JavaScript. This link was supposed to do something, but it won't work because it's JavaScript. I need to do things to support that. I've got 15 seconds left. How is this possible? I'm going to go on just a little bit more over time, and that's just the way it's going to be. And then if people want more than what I talk about, they can do that. So let's return here for a minute to this page. So one big thing that people do is they use style display none. And the reason you might do that is that you want, when this region first comes up, you don't want it to be shown. So I'm just going to say in the custom attributes, style equals display colon none. Okay, and I'll run that, and you'll see it didn't work. It's still there. This region is still there. And the reason is because I have this thing and I can't use inline style. As soon as I put on this content security policy, I can't use this.
So this inline is considered as not trusted because you have set the attribute of CSP.
Right. And if we just look really quickly, if I inspect this and I look at my network traffic and I look at here, we're going to see my content security policy came in right here. Here's my content security policy right there. That's exactly what's coming in based upon what I put in the shared components security. That's my content security policy. So there are techniques to get around this, but the first thing you have to know is you cannot use inline styles unless you configure your security policy to allow a specific inline policy, inline style. So if I want to allow a particular style, like I want to allow this, I have to come in to my policy, and I have to give it a direction that says that style is allowed. And in fact, I've done that. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Yeah, okay, I've done that. I've said I can use a style attribute if it has a particular hash. So this hash right here, this hash is allowed.
That hash is the little style display none.
That is the hash of display none. Exactly. That's the hash of the style display none. But look at that.
It did not work.
Hash, but it didn't work.
There is. I've noticed the space before none.
It's because of a space. It's got to be the hash of the exact string within there. And if I have display none and background red and other things, it needs to be the full hash of that full style. So every time you have a variation, you need it to be perfect. So I'm gonna save that, and then I'm gonna rerun this page, and we're going to see that now it did work because it's the perfect thing, right?
Okay.
And this is the weirdest thing to me. The help talks about this thing right here, this display none, where they say it resolves to display none, and it's this supported substitution string is to make your life easier, right? Well, first, it does not resolve to display none. That's not true. That's just wrong. It resolves to the whole string that we see right here, this whole string, which doesn't have a space and does have a semicolon. So first of all, it does that. Okay, so what I can do though, is I can use that, and I think this is actually a good idea to do something like this. Instead of typing this in here, I can use this right here and put it there. And then combined with the content security policy with the hash, if I do that and save it, that will work. Okay.
Okay.
Right. And so, and I think it's a good idea to use a substitution string like this so that you're sure, but I think it's a bad idea actually to use this one. I think this one is a bad idea to use because of two things. First, it's documented wrong. Apex can change it anytime they want. They could add that space in, they could take the semicolon out, whatever. And if they do change it, you have to change your hash. And you're not going to know that they changed it. So I would say, don't use this. Create your own substitution string. Do a hash on what your substitution string has and use your own. And use your own whether it's display none, whether it's background red, whatever it might be.
Okay, is the hash mentioned anywhere here on this page, on this documentation? Like the hash?
No, nowhere.
Okay, so this is also a tip within a tip.
Yeah, yes. But we're going to go even farther because Marwa, you gave me a better way to do it all together instead of doing.
My better way is to keep doing things in Apex in a declarative way and let Apex manages all of this.
And so I'm going to come up here and instead
use a class uHidden.
uHidden, right? uHidden, because classes are allowed, because classes are in a file that have been served from the same server and they've already been defined and allowed. So I can't use that inline style, but I can use uHidden.
Yes.
Right. So now I'm going to do that, and that's better than everything else we've talked about, but it does mean that you might need to change your application.
Yes, I agree. So if you use other CSS classes probably and define them in a file in your static application files.
Yes, or use the ones that Apex has already defined.
Or use the ones, right?
But if you put it in your own files, absolutely. And then you define those files as in Apex. Apex will automatically do everything it needs, whether it's JavaScript or anything else, to put the nonce in, to get everything to work. Yes. And then there's one more thing though, and that's that if you're going to use buttons. So now I've put that uHidden on it, and I want to use buttons to hide and show it. But now my hide and show buttons don't work because my hide and show buttons actually rely on an inline style.
Right. Oh.
But then I have to change my hide and show buttons. Instead of doing hide and show, I need to, instead, I need to do remove class and add class. So now I'm adding and removing uHidden, and now I can get my buttons to go. So instead of using the hide and show action, I have to use the remove class and add class button. And maybe I didn't get it quite working, but that's why it isn't working. Show there, now it is. Okay, there it is.
Hide should be add class, not remove class. Dynamic.
Oh, did I get it wrong? Oh, yes, that should be add class. Add class. Thank you. Add class, uHidden. All right, here we go.
Just by setting up this CSP attribute in your application shared component security attributes,
yes,
some of your dynamic actions could break.
Yes, all kinds of things can break. Yes, all kinds of things can break. And so I guess that's the tip is, but there's one. Oh, Marwa, I know where you were going with this. Go ahead. So
let me see, what do you think of? I mentioned that we should probably do everything declaratively.
Uh-huh.
But then even using dynamic action, sometimes they will break.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
So there's one other thing we can do. Right here.
Import only attribute just to see what's happening with that break in your application.
Right. If we do this, if we change the name of our header from content security policy to content security policy report only, everything will still work, but we'll get console messages that say you have a problem. So let me go in here, inspect. I'll go over the console. And when I go to this other page that has the alert on it, that alert is actually going to happen right here. But in my console, I got this message that said, I violated this. So your application will still work. You can test out your security policy, and you can monitor your console, and you can see like, oh, wait a minute, I still have some problems. Some things are going to be violated.
Yes.
So we went way, way, way over time. This has got to be, I think this is like a 15-minute tip, not a 5-minute tip.
15 minutes. Okay.
That's terrible.
It's a big
terrible.
topic. It's a big topic. It's worth it. Thank you.
But Rich Soul, yes, I have already logged a documentation bug on this. So I've already logged the bug. So, all right. Well, if the recent week's news is at all in anyone's mind, all of these security topics are incredibly important. As people may know, 2 AI companies' models recently escaped their sandboxes. So it is about layers and layers of
Security.
your
Protection and security.
Yeah, you exactly, because it's just it's kind of crazy right now.
It is.
So the advice to send a letter to your mom about the show might be really present, because as far as I know, the AI haven't yet figured out how to intercept handwritten letters through the postal service. Anyway, that is more than enough for today. Hopefully folks will be able to use CSPs more often. And if you want more on this topic, go ahead and drop a note in there, but it's already 3 tips worth of time. So
Thank you, Anton.
All right, Marwa, do you have a wisdom or anything this week? I didn't do anything else.
You just mentioned the wisdom about always think about security and protection, layers and policies. Thank you all.
All right, great. Okay, see everybody next week. If you like the show, like the show.
Bye.
Bye-bye.